Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome. The following presentation is brought to you, of course, by BB Because Bitcoin. Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Market Check. A reminder that there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Yeah, you will have to hear me repeat what I often say, but yeah, in markets, weeks tend to go by pretty quickly. This week is no exception, especially when you start your week off with as much volatility as we did on Sunday. But like, wow, it's already Friday, guys. So I guess we'll see what this weekend is going to bring us. But welcome. I'm Tommy. You also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined, of course, by Big Country Tuck and Prometheus, a new member of the team. Welcome to Prometheus as well. We're going to have a great show for you. We are going to send the week off right. And yeah, if you guys have any requests that you want us to look at from a ticker standpoint, I'm assuming we're going to be in good faith here. Don't chill us bottom of the barrel stuff. We'll do our best to look at everything today. We're going to have a chill show. But before we can do that, and before I can talk about the market more in depth, guys, you know what I'm going to ask you, and that is to smash the like button. Bitcoin hit 100K today. I know you don't like to smash the like button if the market's not green. Altcoins gave us some very big moves here overnight. Bitcoin touched 100K, and equities once again tapped that 6,100 level, which we will talk more about in just a minute. So if you guys could smash, slam, destroy, whatever verb you need to justify hitting that like button today, we would be very appreciative. You were slacking a little bit yesterday. It's okay. But today I want a bit of a better performance from you guys. I know you have it in you. I know if nothing else, you're happy that it's Friday and about to be Super Bowl weekend. Maybe we talk about that as well. But I am on the panel with two Kansas City Chiefs fans today. But let's talk about the market, guys, because today we did get some NFP data, right? It's in the title. I think the market was expecting 4.1. It got 4.0. So, we came in slightly under. I think we got some more data from, I think it was Michigan earlier this morning as well.
Yeah, Michigan, man. Michigan really screwed us. I'm not going to lie. They really, really hurt us this morning, bro.
Rejecting the market. But look, here's what we'll say about that. I mean, equities were trading into that 6,100 level, and Prometheus made a comment to us before the show. If you look at some of these daily candles, the amount of times that we've tapped 6,100 and rejected thus far is something like 16, 17, 18 times even. So this is a level that equities have really struggled with. Some might even call it mega supply. But yeah, 6,100 for the S&P does seem to be mega supply. When we look at coins, does that give us any confluence? I think it does, right? Because that level right now is capping equities. And when you look at crypto, I think you have some levels that seem to be capping current prices over there as well. For Bitcoin, it's a little bit noisier, right? We did tag 100K, but I'm talking more for ETH, for Solana. For ETH, that level that has been capping price, at least since we dumped, has been 3K. For Solana, that level has been more so 225. And for BNB, that level is 620. I think that these are all levels that these markets would like to flip in order to begin encouraging more risk on behavior. But of course, below them, at best, will probably continue to range. For equities, it's a little bit different because it's trading near all-time highs. But for crypto, these are levels that it has to hold. So it kind of needs equities to break through the 6,100 level, I think. And yeah, we'll see what the next few weeks hold in that regard. But regarding the coins, I'm going to say it for the fourth time, Bitcoin tapped 100K today. Which, it's just a very noisy Bitcoin chart. But I still think that we can continue to take signal from the beta to Bitcoin, which we have been. ETH, Solana, obviously, BNB as well. These are assets that look a little bit weaker here over the last few days. And I think that ultimately their direction over the weekend and obviously next week will determine what the crypto market is ultimately going to do from here. But yeah, I'd love to open the floor up, guys. We did get a bit of a squeeze overnight. Like I said, we're seeing some retracements of those squeezes right now. It is a macro event day, so maybe we don't get any clarity until next week. Maybe we get some clarity this weekend, hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, I think the longer that Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol kind of diddle around down here, obviously the worse that will be for the more speculative and higher beta altcoins on our watch list, which we will try to talk about today. So if you have any coins, I'm going to repeat myself here before I open it up. If you have anything that you want us to look at, as long as it is not bottom of the barrel, right? Let's have some decorum here, of course. We're going to do our best to look at it. Send us some super chats. And yeah, we're going to have a great Friday today, guys. I hope everybody had a great week. What's up, Tucker and Prometheus? How are we doing, guys? What are we seeing in the markets? Do we have any thoughts on, probably no thoughts on NFP, but maybe some thoughts on what came out of Michigan. I still don't know what exactly the latter is, but yeah, I hope you guys are having a good start to your day.
Yeah, well, we got Prometheus on here for the first time. Well, not the first time, but first time in like a year. So welcome to him. We're gonna let him cook here in a second, but it was Chris Jones, man. Chris Jones saying, "Go Chiefs, would you chart Luce? I know it's down horrendously. PA is interesting." Okay, so I mean, I just want to go through this quick because micro cap, but
it's not a micro cap. It might be now, but
I think
it might
it is now, brother. Yeah. Above here good, below here bad. No touch zone, in my opinion. So that's the super quick analysis, right? Well, really, I could tighten this up a little bit, but
we often say that these macro events are way more a product of positioning than anything, unless you get something that deviates expectations to a pretty extreme degree, which has only happened one time, basically in like a year. But the positioning, I would say, going into last night and this morning probably was a little bit oversold on altcoins. So we've seen those respond the heaviest, right? Because they were beat down, not just last week, but also this week, kind of seeing some bleed on a few of these pairs. But yeah, they gave some big squeezes. I think they're kind of awaiting direction on Bitcoin. They're probably awaiting direction on, especially for beta, on, their corresponding major, right? Like whether or not it's ETH or Sol. And yeah, we got some big squeezes because there probably was a bit heavy short. I'm having like word vomit right now, but yeah, there was probably a bit heavy shorting into some of those lows last night. We saw it squeeze today. Will the trend resume lower for some of these alts, of course, or will it continue squeezing? I think that has a lot to do with what Bitcoin's going to do from this pivot.
Well, we're having equities pretty damn weak right now too.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. What's up, Prometheus?
Oh, not much. I mean, let's start out and say, Chiefs are three-peating. Let's just get that off the chest. It's got to be said, right? Everybody's going to hit us with it's rigged. Vegas owns the streets. Yada yada yada. The invisible pass interference calls and all that. But
that's exactly why I'm betting on the Chiefs this week.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Patrick Mahomes gets like touched, and it's an automatic, first down. So, but I think it's really going to fall on Chris Jones and what our defense can do, and if we can stop Saquon. I think Jalen Hurts over the past few games has shown that he just crumbles under pressure. So I think it's really going to rely on Chiefs defense and then containing Saquon. So that's a little bit of sports alpha for the day. But back to the markets, I think that volatility is kind of showing its hand. Like, volatility does not want to be suppressed. It has shown that over arguably the last month and a half, right? Structure looks like it's trending higher, and like Snorlax said, I counted the amount of daily candles that have come into 6,100 and rejected, and it's like 18. And that just goes to show the kind of the waning momentum that the S&P is showing. And if you look at a lot of the things within the S&P that aren't, Mag 7 related or, quantum computing or nuclear, nothing set a new all-time high. If you look at stuff just like it's just like the crypto market, right? Like a lot of our alts, majority of the alts have not set new all-time highs, but it goes the same for the TradFi markets. And that just kind of, you can kind of extrapolate that to just low liquidity conditions and low liquidity environment, right? You have big names that haven't broken their COVID highs in the TradFi markets. So it's just kind of a hot ball of money right now in all the markets, and it's just wait and see. We do have our thesis that there will be QE here eventually. I would beg to differ that it's going to be some form of backdoor QE. I don't think it's going to be necessarily as blatant as we saw COVID, where they just printed they increased the monetary supply by 25% in the matter of 4 months. I don't think it's going to be something as blatant as that, but you are going to see, different forms of backdoor QE. And at the same time, you're seeing Trump and a lot of the people that he's appointed actively talk about, and a few times it's slipped in a few of their speeches, but how they want to target the 10-year and bring down the long end. They really want to figure out how to control that long end, and ultimately will be a form of stimulus. If they can bring down those long end yields, you're also going to see the Dixie come down, and you're going to see a lot of other bags follow suit and head higher. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. We've had talks of the reverse repo market, what that means, whether or not they re-inject liquidity back into the repo market. They aren't just going to let that bleed to zero, because if they do, that signals a big systemic issue and risk that would happen if the reverse repo market blows up. But with that being said, I think there's a lot of names that you got to kind of watch out for. And I'm talking broader markets right now, because ultimately, crypto does follow the broader markets, and it's important that we keep our eyes on TradFi markets, because ultimately Bitcoin and everything else, the shitcoins that we're in, are going to follow suit. So yeah, just a few things that I'm seeing. What else are you guys seeing in the market right now?
I'm glad that you pointed out. I'm sorry, Tucker. I just really quickly, I wanted to say I'm glad that you pointed out volatility, because I really think that something like the VIX futures curve has been looking very primed for multiple weeks. Just hasn't been able to get the catalyst to be able to spike. And we kind of know how this works. In equities, you need perfect conditions for the market to be able to go down, but you can kind of get some hints at weakness before it happens.
Yeah, I I agree. But this is interesting. I hadn't really pulled up what we call net liquidity in a while, which is just the Fed balance sheet minus reverse repo plus what is it? Plus something. What is WT? What is that again? I don't even remember, honestly. I'm embarrassed. I should know this. What is this? Liabilities and capital deposits. Okay, whatever. Fed net liquidity, right? This thing has been in a downtrend since December of 23, and Bitcoin is sent. But it's important to note this is actually more important. Right. We had ETH BTC down here, Bitcoin, net liquidity on top. This has been in a downtrend the whole time, even though Bitcoin got bid, altcoin market / ETH BTC has been in the gutter, right? So I think Ben Cohen's talked about it too, right? We need QE type of thing, but I think more so than that, we just need to see a reversal in this. I'm going to get rid of Bitcoin here. Once you see a reversal in this, that's when you see the reversal in ETH BTC. And I think we see that during Trump's first 100 days, honestly. I think we see a reversal in net liquidity, and we see ETH BTC bottom and start an uptrend. But that is a bit of a hot take right now. So
I don't think it should be a hot take. But I guess until ETH Bitcoin actually starts moving higher, people are going to be skeptical about potentially outperforming. And I do think let me be clear. I do think that this pair can go lower still, but from a timing standpoint, I think we are very, very, very close. And I've been, the chief ETH fudor. I really thought Q4 was a great opportunity to say, hey, seasonality makes sense that we see some ETH outperformance. We have not seen that. But I think since I've kind of resigned myself to the idea that ETH Bitcoin's not going to bottom on anything to do with technicals. It's going to have everything to do with global liquidity and ultimately fundamentals, and the push-pull dynamic between the way that people view Bitcoin and ETH as non-sovereign storages of value.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, like that chart that you just had up with Bitcoin. I mean, that just explains how strong institutional bid has been this cycle. And it just goes to show that, I mean, how strong the spot bid has been for Bitcoin, right? I mean, we are essentially decorrelating from greater, liquidity flows and liquidity dynamics. So it's really interesting. And then ETH BTC, I mean, it's just, in my eyes, it's kind of like a wait and see thing. Like it's just proven you don't get in front of it. Like you don't call a bottom on ETH BTC. It's going to be one of those things like, we'll just wait and see. And I'm in the same camp as Tommy. Like, I think it's sooner rather than later that we do get, finally some outperformance potentially in Ethereum. And I was talking to Bills, who's one of the moderators in our Discord actually yesterday. And it's really, really interesting too, that you have these, major institutions like BlackRock and, World Liberty Financial, and they're scooping up a lot of RWAs and stuff that could actually potentially do something in the sector. And all we've seen so far with this cycle has been kind of a mass adoption in the sense that, everybody's came to the realization of what Bitcoin is and what it can be used for, but that cannot be said for the rest of the asset class. Like there's a lot of other tech and projects out there that could actually have the potential of doing something cool and meaningful, but you haven't seen that adoption and that realization from the majority of the markets and liquidity out there. And in my opinion, this is, maybe more next cycle or towards the end of this cycle, but you're really, really, really going to start to see a legitimization of the asset class as a whole. And it's going to be interesting to see. Like, I think now is potentially, or in the bear market of, when the bear market happens, I think that's, in my eyes, where you genuinely bid a lot of the things that could do very, very well from a utility case over the next 5 to 10 years. And they will be potentially the Mag 7 of crypto. So just something that I've been keeping my eyes out for.
No, I agree. I feel like if you believe in ETH, which, obviously the meaning of the phrase, do you believe in ETH, has changed a lot over the last year. But I think if you do believe in ETH, these are, pretty good valuations relative to Bitcoin. I think people will look back, maybe not in a month, but in a few years at these ETH Bitcoin valuations and think, yeah, well, I probably should have been buying some ETH here, at least on a relative basis. Again, I'm not going to say that ETH Bitcoin or that ETH USD won't go lower, because I'll be honest, like right now, my bias is that they probably will. But I made this comment yesterday. I really think how ironic would it be if what ends this nihilism that so many people have towards the space is ultimately going to be driven by fundamentals, for one, which everybody has kind of already written off as being possible in crypto, and fundamentals on ETH. I think that's going to have a lot to do with the tokenization of assets. I think it's going to have a lot to do with the blending and intermingling of CeFi and DeFi. And I don't know quite what it's going to look like, but that's just kind of my gut feeling. I could be early to that thesis, but I do think that's probably where ETH is headed over a long term. Outperformance, I'm sure that can be debated, but I do think that probably will be what the bankers, the cabal, ultimately use for ETH. And I think this as well. I will say this is kind of my last point within this this little like rant, but I think Michael Saylor and central bankers accumulating so much Bitcoin actually dilutes the value proposition of what Bitcoin is. And I'm a little bit concerned about what that means for Bitcoin performance over a long term. I actually think that's kind of why buying ETH at these prices or buying ETH Bitcoin is what's so appealing to me over the next few years. Because if it's all going to be centralized, why wouldn't you bet on ETH? Because ETH is literally like the centralized coin. It will be a way for bankers to be able to, have any of you seen iRobot? I haven't seen it, but I've seen the
yeah.
You haven't seen iRobot, bro? Oh my, that's one of the
about
Will Smith classics, bro.
eCoin or whatever is what they talk.
Oh no, you're talking about
It's not. It is iRobot. I thought. I think Prometheus is talking about RoboCop.
You're talking about RoboCop Prometheus.
No. I'm talking about iRobot, bro. I'll pull it up.
No.
Yeah.
No, the TV show.
I
The
mean, in
TV show.
iRobot, they say eCoin, we control the ledger.
Mhm.
It's all going to be centralized, and let's be honest, like that is where Bitcoin is trending, more centralized. Look at the entities that are accumulating it. Look at how much Bitcoin they've accumulated. I love Bitcoin.
Mr. Robot, that's it. Tommy.
Mr. Robot, okay.
Yeah, brother. I was like, no.
That's what it. I knew what you were talking about. Yeah.
Fundamentally, I think it dilutes Bitcoin's value proposition personally. We'll see if that plays out in practice. But yeah, I mean, if it's all going to be centralized, I think I'd bet on ETH, at least at this point, right? Because Bitcoin's
Tommy, what do you make of that RSI on ETH right here?
I don't love it. Like I said, I think ETH USD is probably going to go lower. This is me speaking bullish on ETH thematically over a high time frame, but I do think that ETH USD is going lower probably in the next few weeks.
You don't think monthly RSI gets a bounce here at 50?
No. No, I do not.
Dear God.
I've always said I think the biggest thing that's kind of hindering ETH is the current state of DeFi, and I promise I won't soapbox about it, but if it gets cleaned up, I will probably add like a .ETH to my name.
What would need to happen for that to happen?
I'm not gonna say it.
God.
I'm not gonna say it. I don't think it has to do with like zeroing memes like some people would want. I think a lot of these yield Ponzi's and flywheels that do nothing but rehypothecate ETH and ultimately take away, in my opinion, from its ability to appreciate and its actual scarcity. I think they need to go. They need to go, or at the very least, TradFi needs to be building the yield Ponzi's that they want rather than what crypto insiders want. And I think that shift still needs to occur, but I do think it will. I do think that it will.
Yeah, I really hope we can get a monthly RSI bounce here. I'll tell you what. Let me look at some other ones.
I would argue that's exactly why I think we can puke, is you lose that 50 level.
Yeah, the 2-week loss.
I am not in the camp that we're about to have some long drawn out downtrend on ETH. I think it's going to be a wick on like the monthly or the quarterly if we go lower.
No, your thesis is reliant upon QE to essentially come in and rebid it, because I have a hard time thinking that liquidity, like if we lose, like genuinely, if we lose, I think it's 1900 on the monthly like wick low candle. If we lose that low, like I genuinely find it extremely difficult that like liquidity or people are going to even want to come back to ETH. Like, and sentiment already is atrocious. I mean, let alone, yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would say good. I made this comment in the Discord yesterday. I think that there are a lot of people that are here in crypto that I think feel entitled to make it because they've stuck it out. And I think that they maybe misunderstand, quite what that means. Like, just because you're here and you believe that your coin will go up and outperform Bitcoin and ETH does not mean that you are here because you believe in crypto. And I think that those people are ultimately very low conviction, weak conviction, and they can be flushed out of the market still. I'm not saying that they will be, just that they can be. And we need people here for the long term, ultimately, to be holding these coins because they believe in holding Bitcoin and ETH, not because they believe in holding a beta to Bitcoin and ETH that will go up and then throw a tantrum when it doesn't. Because I think there are a lot of people that fit that description right now. And that's a big reason why there's so much salt. Like, oh, I toughed it out. I held this coin, but it's like, you don't actually believe in crypto. You just believe in the ROI. And I think that mentality is ultimately kind of, I think it's a weak conviction that can still be flushed out.
I've never seen this term before, Tommy. Oh my God.
But not to get on a soapbox about that either. I think if ETH were to dip that low Prometheus, it would be a big liquidation event, obviously. But I think, the books get cleared out. Inevitably, you're getting sucked back up when it's over. Maybe QE comes in after. I tend to believe that most of the liquidity and capital will just rotate back into majors at that point. So maybe beta struggles at first, but I think you get a buyback that closes a monthly or quarterly candle, basically engulfing the entire dump. Probably not a monthly, more like
that'd be pretty crazy. I mean, the amount of liquidity that we grabbed on that candle, that was it like a 2-hour candle, was actually insane. I know people were talking about that Justin Sun got liquidated. And he's launching some shit coin to try to get some liquidity or something. But yeah, I'm thinking about it too. And ultimately a big reason why I think that, more the reason why too, why I think Ethereum has had the struggles that it has this cycle is because of Solana. It's not necessarily inherently in its own design or its own ecosystem. It's more the fact that, back in November and December of 23, Solana started popping off on chain, and you had, Whiff and Bonk starting to go crazy. And a majority of, or a good chunk of the ETH, on chain activity just shifted focus and went to Solana. And so potentially, maybe you guys could add upon it your thoughts, but what are your thoughts on a cleansing in Solana leading to a strengthening of Ethereum? Right? Because I mean, as we know, you have, and I don't want to, publicly shame anybody, but there's some big players on Solana that just actively farm the shit out of everybody. And it was kind of crazy. One of them this morning tweeted out, "Hit me up if you want to launch a quality project." And and it was just, it's very interesting too. I just think that if we genuinely have a cleansing of Solana, and sentiment on chain on Solana is already, majority of the participants already kind of have that thought process of on chain Solana, that it's you have to be extremely fast, you have to be agile and nimble, and they don't look at it as any form of value. They look at it more as a form of can you essentially derive can you derive value from this, in the sense that you're going to be the fast or the quickest person to the party and the first one out the door, So what are your thoughts on that?
You want this one first, Tucker?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that I mean, I think if we go a little bit lower, a lot of that gets put to rest, honestly, which would be great, obviously, for all of our majors and all of our stuff on ETH, probably. Because for up until now, it's ETH has had, the Dino DeFi stuff, but if people are trading memes on chain, they just go to Sol at this point, right? So
I think there's two different product market fits for ETH and Sol. I don't know which one's going to outperform from here, but in their current states, I would argue that the method of shitcoining that's occurring on Sol is ultimately more value extractive than value additive for the Sol coin itself, unless something changes. And I don't think that doesn't mean that there's going to be opportunity still on chain on Sol, regardless of what happens from here. But, ETH obviously has a lot of cleaning up to do. I think Sol has a lot of cleaning up to do. Coming out of the thicket, if both do that cleaning up, I think that Sol's market cap is going to be lower, so it's going to be easier to push. But ETH's, like what occurs within mainnet, is more likely to pump ETH than what occurs on Sol is more likely to pump Sol. If that
Some
makes sense.
people got to go to jail. Like that's just what's got to happen. Like let's be real. Let's just send some people to the penitentiary. Let's lock them up, and
what's going to happen is
completely change everything.
The government's already told you what's going to happen to people committing crimes, and they're going to confiscate their coins. Like we have a strategic reserve right now of digital assets that's entirely made up of confiscated coins and assets, and people are committing crimes thinking that they can't see that yet. But go ahead, commit crimes on the blockchain and enjoy getting all your assets confiscated that you still have in crypto in a few years, is what I would say. I don't think that crime is going to pay.
I don't think Sol looks too bad here, honestly, especially like this. Like here's the thing though with majors is like you just gotta hold these levels on the RSI, man. You gotta,
I like how thick that RSI line is, Tucker.
Yeah, bro. I can make it even. Look at that. Boom. I just hate when it's like this, I'm like, dude, I can't even see that.
The problem is it's purple. That's the issue.
I hear Peanut.
Yeah, she's yelling at me.
No, I had to lock my cats out of the room.
That's what I did, bro. But the problem is my door to my office is see-through, so it's a problem. Yeah.
Well, maybe Butters makes an appearance later on the stream, so who knows?
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I don't love the Sol. The structure itself looks fine. There's just like so many things that scream at you about Sol. It's like a warning sign every month. It feels like yesterday you had the LA Vape Cabal doing a podcast with Haley Welch.
Oh my God.
Come on, man.
Bro.
Like, come on. But it is still an uptrend, so.
It is a technical uptrend. Yeah. Just wouldn't want to see it lose like 180s, really. But yeah. And 50 RSI, important levels. But what do you think about stocks here, man? Are we
it looks rough.
Yeah.
It's teasing a bigger move down. I couldn't tell you what it's going to be caused by, but I feel like I see a headline in volatility and the volatility charts. We just haven't had it come out yet.
So go back to the SPX or ES, either one, and draw a box. Go on the daily and draw a box literally at 61. Or you're on SPX.
That really.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see. Yeah, go to ES, go to futures. Yeah, and draw a box is exactly 6,100, and just look at how many times we just slam our fucking heads into that.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, like Tommy was saying, I think we come back down and we need to rinse some people, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. Vol looks very bullish right now, so I think we come down into like 57-ish, come back down, retest 57. But
what's the What's the VIX futures VX?
It's so coiled, man. It really is. I've been waiting for this thing to break out for what feels like probably 2 weeks now, and it hasn't. But it continues to compress. It continues to hold that floor. The S&P continues to reject from 6,100. I don't really think that the floor on vol is going to give out, because I mean, this is the week that equity should have been moving higher and should be moving higher, because they've had positive flows, passive flows. I mean, everybody has made much ado about, obviously the persistent bid that's always underlying equity indices. But vol is not budging. Mm-hmm. And I always say, I think if you're trading equities, you're better off just looking at volatility than actually trading the indices charts, because what's really driving price.
Yeah, I think you could see 18 probably here on the VIX soon. I mean, but that's not what you're looking for, is it, Tommy?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just like looking for a breakout on it. My thoughts on the S&P. I think it makes sense cyclically that we see some big move down on equities that leads to a new Fed put. I think 10 or 15% would probably cause that. Then they turn the printer back on and it benefits everything.
Tommy, 10% would be...
I know what 10% is.
Oh my God, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
I mean, historically, it makes sense. Last time in 2018, when Trump enacted tariffs, the S&P dropped 10%. So, I mean, it would historically line up.
I mean, that's what you're going to need for QE, right?
Yeah.
Like, Trump doesn't care that ETH went to 2,100, right? This is what he really cares about.
Exactly.
He cares about the Dow. He cares about the boomer index.
DIA. I haven't looked at this chart in a long time. Look at this. Oh my God. The inverse head and shoulders.
A minute. Hold on.
That played out, huh?
I'm sure I got some errant fractal on it somewhere.
Yeah, 314 is the next Fed meeting. So,
man, I remember when this thing hit like 20,000 back in the Dow at 20,000 back in 2017. We're about like 45 now. That's crazy.
Never underestimate the strength of the American consumer.
You remember Cat? Oh my God.
360.
Shorting vigorously,
bro.
Right there. 240 is when we shorted it.
No, this was 2022. It was somewhere in here. No, it was, I think it was the beginning of 23. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 240 at the beginning of 23.
Jeez, man.
Somebody asked about the dollar. I mean, dollar's starting to look decent for another push up. At least if it's going to be tied to yields.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't love that my quant is saying dollar to 113.
Is that what he said, bro?
Yeah.
I mean, if that one wick on the dollar when we like wicked 108 on that big sell-off day, if we come up and just start retesting that, I mean, we're going to like, way higher on the dollar.
I mean, this is a pivot where you're going to see the dollar make a decision. Like you said, Prometheus. I mean, if we start to backfill a rejection like that on the dollar, it is definitely a sign of strength and that it can continue to move up.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, like if you're bearish dollar, like you want that to be like the blow off top for the dollar.
But we've talked before about, the correlation between the dollar and the 10-year. And how, we think the dollar stopped, but at the same time, we look at the 10-year. And if you're trading the 10-year like a shitcoin, you're probably looking for one more stab at the highs before it officially rolls over.
I mean, yeah, it could be here, though. Usually in a downtrend, you you retest these type of lows, and then you do this, and then you retest this one, you know. But I mean, what would, I guess, because didn't Trump talk about wanting to take down the 10-year, like explicitly?
Yeah, him and David Sachs and a few of the guys he appointed have all alluded to it.
Yeah.
Why can't I delete that user from the chat?
Who?
It's a bot. I can't ban his.
Yeah, you have to like log into whatever that is. I
That's
don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
I mean, that's kind of how we view the macro right now. I mean, I think it'd be better if we got a quick move down in equities than if we kind of start to round out up here. That would be slightly concerning on my end from a cyclical point of view. But
round out on what?
If we start to form like a prolonged rounded out top on equity indices, that would be cyclically a little bit more concerning to me.
Oh yeah, look at the stochastic RSI on the weekly on the on the ES. It just looks like a huge bear div. Does not look good, boys.
What'd you say? Oh shit. Well, I mean this too.
Dude, it looks
you said
so
stock, but
bad, bro. Yeah,
oh, no.
Bad.
Yeah.
That looks like it's loading
so
candle, man.
I mean, we've seen this do that shit before, though, right? I mean, I guess.
No, we have not. No, we have not.
Yeah. We have. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There we
We
go.
had
There
this,
we go.
and then we were just going up forever.
Yeah. What was? But and then it went sideways for like a year or two.
This.
What was that time frame? 2014, 15. Oh my god.
I mean, before you had a big drop, it was like what, 3 years? How long have we been going?
The reason I don't think that we're about to enter a bear market to the same degree of 2022, like I think a bull spike is still more likely than a rounding top and then a multi-year bear market, because I don't think that volatility positioning is quite the same as 2022. I've talked about this before. I mean, the reason that we trended the way that we did in 2022, most people were very well hedged. Volatility was well supplied. That's why the VIX never got above like 35 during that trend. That it was very controlled. Right now, the skew is much more heavily positioned, in favor of long. So if you're likely to see a downtrend, more people are going to be caught with their pants down. It's more likely to be an event than a long-term trend. I had something else I wanted to say as well, but I kind of forgot what it was going to be. It's okay though. But yeah, I don't think that it's quite the same as 2022.
We'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, it's really interesting right now because a lot of the guys that I talk to that sell, that explicitly sell vol, and sell, and yeah, they're kind of like they're on the fence right now. Like it's very interesting the amount of positioning to the like hedging and positioning to the downside. Like the fear in the market is palpable and tangible, right? And that is expressed through the through where the VIX is at right now and the structure that it's currently setting. And so it's very, very interesting where you don't have necessarily the suppression in vol anymore, because like these vol sellers genuinely are scared, and there's this huge tail risk potentially to the downside. Like honestly, anytime Trump opens his mouth, like anytime he gets on stage, like people are genuinely scared. And so I'm just kind of on the fence right now. Like, for me personally, like, do I want to be selling volatility here? And in a way, I don't really. I mean, a spread maybe, but directly selling vol and having directional bias, or yeah, directional bias is very, very difficult for me to have here at these levels and what the current structure is looking like in the markets. But I think 10-year genuinely right now, it's like needs to go down. Like it is like from what I'm seeing, like if you chart it like you were to chart anything else, right? We came up into that daily OB from, October of 23. We wicked the April 24 highs. It's like, okay, it's time to, head lower. If you put it on the daily, Tucker.
Oh man, dude, this thing is fried. Oh my god. Yeah, what are we talking about, bro? No, I don't
More spike up, man.
No, bro, it's fried.
Put it on the daily too. Like
it's gonna have one more move up.
It's cooked, dude.
Yeah, we like wicked the April 2024 highs. We came into the OB from the November 23 highs. It's just like it's now or never.
I mean, yeah, I could see maybe one more spike up, but like this thing is cooked.
Yeah. I think if I were trading this like a shit coin, I'm still looking for that last spike above the highs. You got the 3 drive.
You think?
Thinking it's a shoulder. You sweep the 3 drivers out, or the 3 drive shorters, and then you take it lower.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. But this, I mean, on more than like a 2 to 3 week outlook, I think this thing is cooked. Like I think if it's gonna spike these highs, it's gonna be soon.
It's the Bitcoin top. I'm telling you.
Oh, hold on.
2021.
All right.
Waiting for that Coinbase IPO high. BTTC.
Yeah, I don't know what
that BitTorrent Classic.
No way. Is that what it was?
I think so.
Do we want to do 3-day?
Corporate wants you to believe that.
Wants you to find the differences in these two pictures. All right. So,
we're loading.
We need to put that in.
Yeah, I do.
1 higher high, lower high, double top, higher high. We never really did this.
So
lower
far,
high was over. I know so far, but so you think this is? I don't know. This has more. I don't know.
I know you see it.
Yeah, but this had like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 higher highs, and then a lower high, and it was.
We haven't put in the 4th one yet.
We put in lower highs though. Already, like this didn't put in a lower high until it was over.
I mean, I think it just looks like that shoulder it had on the 3rd high on Bitcoin.
Oh, are you thinking like it's like?
Yeah.
I see. This.
I think you see one last push up on this. And then I think it just gets nuked to the floor.
Yeah.
Which ultimately would put, the bullish continuation to the back burner until Q3 of 25, arguably. So have like what, another 8-month death range?
Can't have it.
I mean, I wouldn't rule it.
Can't have it.
You know what? I think if we have an event that creates like vol that gets bought up and then you range, that's better to me than a long-term bear market for beta, because at the very least in that range, I think you would still have on-chain opportunity. And I think there would be question marks. Like you're going to be asking yourself, okay, what's a good storage of value on chain? It's clearly not this, it's clearly not this coin, but it could be, maybe the denominated currency of the layer 1, like like Solana or ETH. But I also think, what's a good storage of value when you don't know what to put your money in? Fine art.
Okay, so
fine art on the blockchain.
So if you think this has another spike up, where? Because this only went 5% above the high, and that's Bitcoin. So I mean,
let me look at my chart.
5%.
Oh my!
Is not very far. Like that's like 530.
I don't think we go to 530. I think we go to like 5.
So you thinking? I mean, that's basically a double top, right?
Yeah, maybe like a slightly higher high.
I mean, then you got to ask yourself, does that also coincide with a resurgence of inflation like we had in the 80s, where they started cutting too soon and then inflation resurged? And I think inflation set like a new all-time high in the 80s, but they started cutting way, way too early. I mean, still potentially, because for the 10-year to go to what, 5.5? Did you have it on your chart, Tucker? I think something. Yeah,
I really don't think we're going to 5.5.
I mean, things would have to be inherently fucked up, like in the system.
They would have to sell TLT super hard, like because I know you think this is more so the inverted Bitcoin top, right? But
yeah, I've been looking for like 80 on this.
So not even 80, just a slightly higher high or lower low, whatever. Yeah.
Once we get those reversals, though, I mean, that paints a very favorable picture. It doesn't really. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it really paints the usual picture that you see on rates before a recession, but I could be wrong.
The usual picture on rates before a recession.
Let's take a look. Yeah.
I mean, when was 2008? That's the. I mean, yeah, just like, wait, hold on. What am I doing? This is TLT. The usual picture on rates before a recession.
Well, that doesn't really look best comparison standpoint.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think we're in 2008.
No.
That's not my bias.
Take a look at the 2-month, Tucker.
Yield.
It would be kind of funny though if after everybody said this wasn't like 2008, it ended up being exactly the same.
Maybe this is a 3-month.
No, it's a 3-month. I know what you're talking about. Oh man, some old drawings.
I know Tommy's got some buried in his trading view. He pulls up some deep, dark things up out of the dungeon. If we go to some pickers.
Out of the dungeon.
I've got some pretty random fractals in my object tree for sure.
I mean, so. Okay, hold on. Where is it?
I think the question people need to ask themselves regarding equities is what you expect over the next like 4 to 5 years. Do you think that the federal government is going to be exercising austerity and spending less money? And if you think that's the case, obviously you're going to see price action that's going to look a lot more like 1968 to the mid 1980s, where it's sideways, ultimately up over 10 to 15 years, but you lose about 50% of your purchasing power through inflation, or rather, I think like on a risk-adjusted basis, you lose 50%. But I think the other side of that coin is you don't expect the federal government to stop spending money, which is currently where I am, and you expect the S&P to look less like 1968 to the mid 1980s, more so like something like Japan in the 1980s, the 1990s, more so like a more vertical price structure. And in that case, you'll probably still lose a good chunk of your purchasing power to inflation. But the narrative is going to be less about, okay, I'm picking assets, every few years to outperform and traders market. And it'll be more so, I cannot bear to not be in this market because otherwise I will underperform inflation so drastically that I can't afford anything. And I think there's 2 different paths that we can take from here. So I guess it's kind of place your bets on which one you think is more likely.
I mean, so this is the FUD chart. Okay, this is the FUD chart. you know, in 01 and 08, these were bear steepeners, right? And I'm not like the most well-versed macro guy, right? And what we've seen so far has been what they call a bull steepener, right? Where we just continue higher while these yield spreads go higher, right? Usually when they, like what we were looking at back in the day was like, look, when these yield spreads get back above zero, right, it's not good. And if it's off the back, it's specifically if it's off the back of the 3-month dropping like a rock, aka people hyper bidding 3-month notes because they're scared, then that's when you top, basically, right? And so be super easy to just, you know, do one of these and be like, hey, we're in the same spot, we're cooked. You know, if for some reason we thought we were there, but not my base case. Not my base case. Right. So
I think it's wise to have plans for a lot of different scenarios right now.
I agree. I completely agree. Yeah, you need to be, like we were talking about, you got to be agile right now. Yeah, and there's so much volatility to both sides. You know, it's definitely a two-way market right now, and you got to be on your toes, and you got to be yeah, willing to shift your thesis and your direction kind of pretty quickly.
I almost feel like on a lower time frame, with all the headline risk back and forth, the market almost feels like a crackhead that's had like way too much crack and wants another hit. But it's about to pass out.
oh my god.
Does that make sense? I mean, it kind of is what it feels like, right? It's like, give me another hit, but it's like, dude, you're literally about to die. Stop.
So somebody asked about this. Total 3 divided by Bitcoin. So
Yeah, I think some of the crypto market participants are going to have some serious like neurological defects after after a few cycles. Like,
dude, I already
they will be needing psychiatric help.
I already do, Prometheus. I already do. What do we make of this? So total 3 over Bitcoin. So this is altcoins versus Bitcoin, basically. So clearly, I mean, that's another one. It'd be, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. This will be easier. Boom. Okay. Right. And then we'll put it. Why did it do that? I don't want that. Total 3. I hate when it does that. Hold on. There. Okay. Regular. Okay. All right. So kind of the same thing. I mean, you could say this thing double topped or whatever, but you know, big downtrend, right? So alts probably don't recover until you get net liquidity back up. Same thing we looked at. I mean, you could just put total 3 on this chart. You could put inverse Bitcoin dominance on this chart. It's all the same, basically. But
That's a good chart.
yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense, right? Like Bitcoin is going to do its own thing, and altcoins are going to continue to be heavily tied to liquidity cycles.
I mean, look at when it ripped, like, you know. And of course, that was money printing and whatnot. And we saw this just rip face. But you did see this lead, though, which is interesting, actually. Like, when did this start pumping? It started pumping right here. When they really, let's just say right there. That led, net liquidity led by 273 days before you saw altcoins outperform Bitcoin to a crazy degree.
Somebody's asking me what I see on ETH perps. Well, I mean, open interest is basically still near all-time highs on ETH, and we're at like 2,700. So I would say
open interest really at all-time highs right now.
Oh yeah.
ETH is funny. I mean, there are a ton of shorts in there for sure. But this move down was definitely,
oh my God,
definitely trapped some people. People got liquidated too, but I think there are still a lot of longs. In the way that we've kind of broken down today. What?
You think these guys are trapped?
I just think, I mean, the ETH open interest looks like a perpetual twop up since basically, I would say mid 2023.
Is this what your open interest looks like?
That's the Binance. That's the Binance OI.
What are you looking at?
The aggregated, yeah.
Yeah.
The aggregated is still like 10 or 15% away from all-time high. Somehow.
That's crazy.
It's a little it's a little disturbing.
Here's your divergence, right?
What's under 2K ETH? I guess you know, I don't think we really want to find out. But
they put up a fucking wall on that sell. Somebody came in and just started clipping.
That's below 2K ETH.
Justin Sun's banana. that's what's under 2K.
If this does like start to give you a reversal, then you've basically flushed all the longs out of the range, and you know, it's nothing but shorts that are probably still holding over the last year, if that's the case. But I think shorts are, generally speaking, in a pretty favorable position right now.
I'm sure too, the reason why OI is the profile it does too, like you always talk about, Tommy, is the mechanics of the DeFi protocols on Ethereum. Like, it's just, you know, that's how the mechanics work, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
get aggregated on here.
DeFi lending, at the end of the day, network usage, which is mostly DeFi. The problem is all of the ETH is just you know, it's like I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, it's not great. DeFi's not a great look right now. Nothing productive being done on ETH mainnet right now, except quantification of the underlying asset.
It's got 50 faces. Is that what you're gonna say, Tommy?
50 faces?
Yeah, it's got 50 different faces. We'll just say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, more or less, you could probably put it like that.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting too going into the weekend. The last 3 out of the 4 weekends, we've had significant expansion of vol. So
let's do it again.
Yeah, we'll see if Trump does something over the weekend. You know, he gets bored. That's the thing. He's bored throughout the week because he used to sit there in all those pressers, you know, in the Oval Office. He's got to sign all those executive orders. And then what he does on the weekends for fun is he's like, you know what, we're just going to fuck shit up. You know, we're going to do something. And that's what we've been doing the past few weekends. You know, who knows? We'll, you know, there's talks about turning Gaza into a Texas Roadhouse.
Oh my God.
I don't. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens this weekend.
I will say the one thing I will not do. I will not make this mistake again. If we get a move over the weekend, it will revert. The time is TBD, but like any move over the weekend is going to get reverted over the next few weeks.
Is there a signal in this devol thing, Tommy?
I don't really think so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bitcoin vol at this point is just going to trend to zero more or less, but
yeah,
it doesn't mean we can't get spikes. It's just not as actionable of an indication going forward. This is true. I want to point this out. Like, ETH does have a ton of basis trades and carry trading, and ENA plays a role in that as well, as far as the OI goes. So I don't think that all of it is explicitly directional. But I do think that big players in ETH understand the importance of holding up that 2K level. because you don't want to probe what's under it.
I remember when you were talking about what's under Justin Sun's floorboards or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I'm just a little bit early, but I guess Justin Sun might have gotten hit on that last drop. Maybe it was before. Maybe it was back in August. But yeah, don't buy his new yield Ponzi stablecoin. Apparently,
What happens to the markets though if his protocol goes down? Like
something's best left undiscussed for the sake of history.
Yeah. I mean, don't they do more volume than Ethereum?
TRX?
Arguably? Yeah.
Oh, I'm not talking about TRX. I mean, I'm sure TRX would take a hit, but the reason Tron matters isn't as much DeFi as it is Tether, because there's so much Tether on Tron. But something's better left undiscussed for the sake of our industry.
Our macro quant is bullish, Tommy.
Oh, wait. I think I know who it is.
Yeah, you do. You do. Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I can't say I agree with him, but
I know.
I think we'll know pretty soon, the direction that the markets are taking from here, like probably as soon as the next week and a half to 2 weeks.
Ethereum looks like it's going to die this weekend.
I think so.
Does not look good.
Come into here.
That's the level I got marked out too.
Yeah.
Sweep that low. I am still sticking to my guns. You don't sweep that wick low, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm with you.
I mean, I think we can get damn close, but
I mean, you think it'll be like what, like this?
We swept all that already.
No.
Oh yeah. Oh, like representation of that. Yeah, I think we can get damn close, but I don't think
was damn close.
Yeah, I remember too that drop. My girlfriend and I were like, "Oh, like let's do a nice like steak dinner." And I'm like sitting there like, and I had just entered a short like, I think I entered a short like a few hours before, set some alerts. I was like, well, we'll come back to this in a few days. And I'm like sitting there at my stove, searing my steaks. And I hear my alarms going off, and I'm like, "There's no way." and like, I mean, like deep alarms, right? And I come back, and I'm just like, "Yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy. It's like one of those things where you like, you like set a few alerts. You're like, I'll come back to this, in like a week or two, we'll revisit this. Maybe like a few days, and then in like a few hours, it just." Like it's crazy.
You're talking about in August?
Yeah, because that's like my whole family's like my entire family's birthdays are in August, and I was like, oh, I'll do like a nice steak dinner, it's around the birthday times, whatever. And I just came back. I was like, there's no way that is those alarms. Like
I remember I was expecting that dump, but I was at the dinner table with my family. I was visiting my dad. And all of a sudden, like my phone's, I had the same thing. I started getting some vibrations in my pocket. And I was like, there's no way it happened already. And I checked my phone, looking at some of the alarms getting hit. And I'm like, guys, I got to get up. I got to go beyond the buttons.
Oh, man.
Do they have like that understanding? Because some people, because it's very interesting too. Like when people first start out trading and you first kind of make a career of it, and your family doesn't have that like understanding yet, and they're like, what are you doing? It's like 8:30 on a Saturday night. Like, what are you doing? And it's like, I gotta go. Like crypto's 24/7.
Yeah, no, it is. And I actually learned something pretty funny about my dad that I didn't know a few months ago. And it was actually, my grandmother told me, it was like, it's so funny that you're doing this because your father, there was like a time where he was trading penny stocks. I'm just thinking to myself, no way. No way. Oh, it runs in the family, I guess.
It must.
Could you imagine being around during the penny stock time period where you'd have to like call your broker? You'd see like the penny stocks like in the newspaper, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh yeah, like, you know, I've heard stories. So
yeah, I'm sure it was wild. I'm sure it was wild, man.
I mean, we truly have such ease of access now, and we are truly spoiled in these markets with the technology and the ease of access that we get. Like,
Oh no, more tariffs, dude.
No way.
I told you, bro. Come the weekend, he's like, you know what? We gotta do something.
Right before the weekend.
We gotta do something.
We're
Oh
just
my
doing the
God.
exact same playbook as last week, man. Tariffs into the weekend, a lot of risking. Crypto's gonna nuke altcoins again, and then a bounce on Monday, Tuesday. The tariff fears are overblown, et cetera, et cetera.
Dude, what does he want Trump's with Japan? We're gonna turn Japan into a third world country at this point.
Wait, they're tariffs on Japan?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're turning Japan.
Yes.
Wait, what does USD JPY look
He
like?
said they are an option.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on. Yeah, let's
What does the yen look like? Because that actually could impact market liquidity. Oh boy. Well, I could actually see that being the cause of a traumatic event if this is
pumping. They're pumping USD JPY. Yeah.
That along with the rate hike that they just did
should be fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Margin call 2.0 on the yen.
So much for taking the weekend off.
God.
I have not checked the like button, guys. Please tell me that you're hitting it. Even if just out of frustration.
The like button is looking weak today.
200.
Wow. Yeah, it's time to end the show.
All right. End it, Tommy.
200 likes. I'm really disappointed, guys. We definitely could have done a better job of smashing the like button, especially because we were providing some very real, I felt like, clarity on where we are from a macro standpoint. But yeah, it is what it is. I guess we'll see how these tariffs all kind of tend to resolve here over the next few days. This is, though, thus far, pretty much an exact footprint of what we saw last Thursday and Friday, where they announced tariffs going into the weekend. And then right after that, obviously, we saw a lot of institutional de-risking with altcoins. So we'll see if this time is different or the same. But if you are a premium subscriber in our Discord, of course, you'll be able to get our thoughts on the markets, during the weekend, which you cannot do if you're just a market check viewer. So if you're looking for your go-to source of alpha, you want to hear from the team over the weekend, how we're potentially positioning and playing this volatility, come join the premium Discord, guys. You also get 4 to 5 hours of daily calls from the team, sometimes more than that, because, I'll be honest, we like to yap, we like to cook. But of course, we were nice enough to bundle this together with your go-to tool for the cycle, developed by us, the BB Terminal. We continue to build out pristine functionality for you guys. And whether or not you are an active investor or an active trader trading lower time frames, whether or not you are a long-term investor looking to make data-driven decisions, and of course soon, whether or not you are an on-chain degen looking to trade meme coins, you will be using this tool, I promise you. But prices will go up on it as we continue to build functionality out. So again, make sure to take advantage of these prices while you still can. If you're looking to hone your educational base or even reach trading level mastery, we also have the BB Academy, guys. Come learn from the entire Because Bitcoin team, how we trade, how we analyze markets, the whole shebang from us. So check that out as well. And, maybe the volatility in this market has been a lot over the last 3 to 4 months. After all, there's been a lot of crazy swings and in both directions. Maybe picking winners has been difficult for you. Well, we've got a solution for you as well. You can have the team manage money for you if you qualify as an accredited investor. And a reminder, guys, BB Wealth Management, we are an SEC registered hedge fund, and we trade digital assets in a way that looks to capture their asymmetric history for upside returns while also balancing the downside risk posed in any financial market. So if anything that I just said resonated with you over the last 90 seconds, check out the description. Everything is linked below. But that concludes today's show. We'll be back for another episode on Monday, not tomorrow, because it will be Saturday morning. the morning after the Super Bowl. So we'll see if Tucker and Prometheus are in a good mood or not. But
run it back.
Our typical start time around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. We are live every single day. The New York Stock Exchange is open, but make sure to tune in as well for Market Talk with King Wabi. That is a Twitter space, X space, hosted through the Because Bitcoin account as well as Wabi's. So make sure to follow both of those accounts so you can be notified not just when they schedule those spaces, but also when they go live. And a reminder that Wabi's Market Talk show is live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. But that's it from us, guys. We hope that you enjoyed the show. I hope that you all have a fantastic weekend. Looks like we might have some stuff to do this weekend. Maybe volatility just dies, but I think given the headlines, we might be pretty active today, or rather, the next few days. So if you're a subscriber, I look forward to seeing you in the Discord. If you're not a subscriber, you have the opportunity to do so. But thanks again, guys. And of course, as always, enjoy your weekends and stay safe.